Hey everybody, Jack here. I wanted to share my quick thoughts on the Marvel Tokon beta. I got to play a good chunk of it over the weekend, say around 20 hours. I figured it couldn't hurt to share my thoughts and where I think the game is likely to go or what I would like change. First and foremost, getting the ugly out the way. PC version does not run. The game has so much PlayStation bloatware that has a rough time running on many people's machines. Three of my friends who were really excited to play the beta just flat out couldn't because they couldn't get to the main menu screen. The game chugs that hard. The game was chugging hard on me until like changing the shader warm-up settings, which I think is stupid. But I think this also affects the crossplay as well, because I would see on both in my games and many streamers that the rollback would just jump up on different connections, even though like the game is relatively short. It's kind of just perplexing how they could release it in this kind of state, such little playtesting. I say first and foremost, this is what they need to fix with the game. I can't imagine the longevity of it or how just the game's ability to spread and like grow. It doesn't put the game in a good position. It's already bad enough that PlayStation blocked the game in so many different countries, but like now many people from, at least here in America, can't play it just because their PCs aren't good enough. I think that's really stupid. Might sound like a negative Nancy, but I want to get the bad out the way next. The game is a tag fighter, and I think that's good. I think that's pretty neat, pretty swell with what they have going here. But it seems like in a lot of cases, the game doesn't want to be a tag fighter. I'm referring to using assist. You cannot perform assist when you're in the middle of an action, unless it's on hit or block. So let's say you're moving around neutral. If you're moving around, you can technically call assist just fine, though I don't know, there are times where it feels like the input here is just really late. I'll be mashing on the button and it's just not activating. But if you say with an action in neutral, like you're trying to say cover space from the projectile, or you're trying to cover space with a normal, you cannot call on assist to cover the other like resorting space. The game just says no. The move that you're using has to either hit on hit or block, and even to that extent, this doesn't actually, I just find it generally very limiting in what you're able to do in both neutral and pressure. In a lot of cases, it's harder to come up with a lot more pressure sequences and cool things you can do when you can only use the assists in this particular way. And I'm just really not a fan of the restriction. I think it might just end up being very limiting the further the game goes along, and I'd like to see that change if anything else. It's just I just find it really rough. I got used to it a bit as the beta went along, but I don't know, I found it very hard to start labbing like offensive scenarios when I could hardly use an assist. Whenever I wanted, the block stun on a lot of things is kind of very low. Block stun on a lot of attacks in the game is low, so it's kind of really easy to like for the opponent to jump out or mash out of your pressure. So it's just I just find it kind of difficult and limiting, and I think it might just hurt how the game generally develops. I also have to mention that the input reader, the input buffer for using special moves, isn't the best. It's actually very strict for stuff like DPs, and I don't like doing down motions, but I didn't really find it all that easy to do here, especially in certain scenarios like when I have to active tag. I found it kind of difficult to do these on command because like the raw input reader is just not very forgiving, which is kind of weird. I think it would be something to get used to, but my issues with the input reader comes down to when you hit jump up, like when you hit 9 heavy. Every character has command normals and every character has a command 6H and a 2H whilst in the air. And I was playing Iron Man, playing a ton of Iron Man, and a lot of Iron Man's combos has you using the J6H, and I found it really hard during like a lot of jump cancels to get the move out in a lot of cases, because it would just be eaten by my jump, or not even just the game would eat the input and I'd get just regular JH. And I don't know, I find it's kind of annoying. Wish there's a bit more lenient on that, but I'd say it might just be day one scrub problems, but I'd say it's not. I'd rather this be like a little more lenient. But in terms of like other stuff with the gameplay, outside of my disdain with the assists, I wouldn't say the rest of the game is really bad. Like active tag isn't nearly as strong in this game. It is pretty strong. Active tag is like invul. There's a lot of scenarios in which you can pull out your assist. They just kind of stand there while your point character is doing a big block string, and then at any point you can just go into your tag character since they're staying there for so long, and they're invul for a certain portion of it, meaning it's a lot. There's certain scenarios where you can punish someone who honestly kind of should have been able to hit you, and I think this is more of a development thing. They'll probably change this later down the line, but I don't hate. It's not like super abusable like it would be in something like Tokon. I am more curious to see how that develops. I just don't think it needs an immediate change right now. But the good, I'd say there's plenty of good in the game. I want to end this off on a positive note. I played a majority of Iron Man. I was really digging the flight cancels. But I started off with Captain America. Now it did take me a hot minute to get used to how pressure with this character and neutral with this character is supposed to work, given I was just matching the assist a lot of the time and nothing coming out. But I did eventually get the hang of it. Doing stuff like his bounces with the shield is very fun. Using trick shield on active tag I think is pretty strong for his Oki and his general neutral. Found that very cool and fun to do. Most of my experience being Iron Man, doing his flight cancels, I think is kind of very fun and intuitive for both his combos, his nooch. I wasn't able to practice too much Oki with him, but during his pressure, it's like very easy to stay in because you're able to use repulsor blasts or unibeam, cover with an assist, and then fly back in and go for like another overhead, and then you go from like your general stacker mix there and then into an active tag or into another special. And I found it to be very, very fun to do. I very much enjoyed myself. And these two characters aren't the only ones I'm excited to play more of. I'm excited to try a lot more Spidey, try more Miss Marvel with Ghost Rider. When the full game comes out, I think there's a lot to each character that can be done. Like I said, my only real issue is that I think systems may end up being very limiting for what the game is. Those are more or less my thoughts and opinions. I enjoyed myself, and I'll be looking forward to the full release. I just hope they're able to address the terrible PC port, which is probably what they're probably going to spend most of their time doing, is fixing that PC port, and we'll just see how the game generally develops from there on launch. I would really like for the bloatware to kind of just be removed. I think it was there just so like the game wouldn't get cracked, but how the monkey's paw curls, because yeah, this is arguably just as bad of an issue. The game's longevity and growth. But that's all the thoughts I have for now. I'll catch y'all later.